So today I wanted to make a quick update video on Nutex Health, which I made a video on a couple weeks ago, and since then it has actually done very well. And if you weren't able to watch my last video on Nutex, I basically highlighted their recent earnings report. They released both their Q2 delayed earnings, which originally caused the stock to drop from around these 115 levels or 130 levels all the way down to 85 at one point, and also releasing their Q3 earnings, which are the most recent ones. And basically, in summary, both of them were amazing. And you can just see a basically summary of them. The revenues were great. Again, up to more hundreds of percent year over year. Net income great, EPS great. So everything really was great. And they also initiated a share buyback plan, in which they're going to buy around 25 million in stock over the next month or so. So all really good news. And I highlighted it around when it was around 130, and I wasn't really sure what was going to happen next because I'd never followed Nutex for an earnings beat, but just based on what happened in their previous earnings, I expected it to maybe rise back up to the previous highs around 175, and it has done even better than that. If you see, since the last video I made around November 21st, it dropped down a little bit. That was after actually a short report that was published by a short seller firm out of the Cayman Islands, so not too credible. But something that really made me love this stock even more is that the company responded to the short report in not that much time, and the stock actually bounced back very nicely. So it shows that the stock is very resilient, and then investors are heavily buying. And a short report out of an uncredible firm in other stocks might have a big effect, but Nutex it did not. And now we're back up to these 185 levels. So up a lot of percentages from these 85 levels. Were more than 2x from the 85 levels, and I made videos on the 85 levels. So hopefully some of you guys were able to buy in. But I kind of just wanted to highlight that I think this is really just the beginning for Nutex. If you see their vision here, if you're not aware of their business plan, they basically build and operate these small hospitals. And originally they were, if you look at the 5-year of the stock, they went on the market around a 7 billion valuation. They currently sit at 1 billion, but at one point they were about to go bankrupt because they really weren't finding their way with the strategy they were employing. But now they seem to really have found their groove. And, every year they're building around 4 new hospitals. Those after around a year are going to become profitable and are going to make them even more money. So it's a very, very solid business model. And it's led them in the past year to have great success. But I think this is really just the beginning. We're staring at a $1 billion company right now with the price to earnings under 10. And the revenues are going to continue to grow. The earnings per share is going to probably be around 30 next year, which is just crazy. So this stock, I think, first of all, next year is going to have an amazing year. I see it. I don't know next year if it'll hit it, but definitely back to that 7 billion mark that they IPO'd at. I think that's going to come sometime soon, because that's really, I think that was a just valuation for where this company. And now I think it is just fundamentally undervalued, even at these 185 levels. So if you weren't able to get in at the 120 levels, 130 levels, I think this is still an amazing buying point. I'm holding for a long, long time. That's my plan, unless anything changes. But this is really playing out just great. So if you weren't able to get in on any of my other videos, I would strongly suggest getting in now, because I see this as the future of healthcare. I see it up there with some of the big names in 10 years, and that's really what matters. Is is this company going to be able to hold their own in 10, 20 years? Because that's what makes a really good long-term investment, and I think they will. I don't see any reasons they won't, because this isn't a business model that's been that's very popular. It's mostly the bigger hospitals, but what they're doing I think is really smart. So I think this is an amazing buy right now, even if you missed the prior lows. But at 1 billion market cap, I mean, this could just go so much higher. This could hit 100 billion market cap in 10 years, and I wouldn't even flinch. I think this could definitely be worth that, especially with some of the healthcare companies being in the $1 trillion value. So great things out of Nutex. Let me know what you think about Nutex, and if you're going to be buying, if you're not going to be buying. And yeah, see you next week.